How to never run out of things to say in a conversation again. You have probably been in a conversation before where you suddenly run out of things to say and the other person ran out of things to say, and now you are stuck here just awkwardly staring at each other, waiting for somebody to talk. Hey, how's it going? Good. How's your day? Good. We've all been there. Trust me, I've been there many times. There's an approach you can take to conversations that makes situations like that damn near impossible. And we're going to cover that approach in this video. You may have heard of the idea of conversational threading. What is this? Conversational threading is a form of active listening where you are listening for keywords in somebody else's sentence that you can then spin out into a separate conversational thread. This lets you open up infinite possibilities to continue a conversation. Let's take an example, a very simple example. Let's say that somebody said to you, I just got back from hiking in Colorado. Great. What's in that sentence? Colorado, a place. Hiking, an activity. I just got back, a point in time. You could pull conversational threads out of any of those three spots in that sentence. For example, let's take Colorado. You could ask, hey, what's Colorado like? I've never been. Or, I hear that the skiing's really good in Colorado. You could take hiking. For example, you could ask, hey, are you training for something or do you just really enjoy hiking? They also said, I just got back from Colorado. So you could ask, oh, how long were you in Colorado for? Notice that I'm taking something that the person said. I'm looking for interesting words, and then I'm taking that word as a point of departure and spinning it out into a separate thread. The threads that you weave in your conversation don't just need to be questions. They could be statements, for example. So I could say, Colorado, that reminds me of blah, blah, blah. You could have a story about your time in Colorado. Here is just a general approach that you can take to conversations to never run out of things to say. Be curious, not clever. We set the bar too high sometimes with conversations, and we think, oh, I need to have the quick, witty, clever things to say. If you instead reframe it as, I just want to be genuinely curious about what the other person has to say, it really frees you up because now you're not trying to think of what to say next. You're just actively listening to what the other person has to say. I don't care who you're talking to. Everybody will have something that will pique your curiosity when they're speaking. And when you find that little nugget of interest, grab it and then use that as the start of a new conversational thread. So that's conversational threading, but sometimes you actually do just reach an impasse in the conversation. You reach a dead end and you really don't know what to say. This is where conversational restarters come into play. You should have in your conversational toolkit, so to speak, a set of conversational restarters. There are 4 universal conversation restarters that I use whenever I just really don't know what to say. You can comment on the current situation, your surroundings. You can comment on your recent experiences, like what you did yesterday. You can comment on your future plans, like what you intend to do this weekend, or asking the person what they intend to do this weekend. The 4th one is opinions, so asking the person for their opinion on something. This could be anything. Well, probably not anything. You probably want to shy away from the more controversial or strongly opinionated topics like religion and politics. Your mindset shift should be to stop trying to be interesting and start being interested in what the other person is saying. You actually have unlimited creativity. The problem is that that creativity is trapped in your brain because you're constantly thinking about what you look like in the conversation, what the other person is thinking of you. When it's your turn to speak, you're focused inward. You're sucking energy in. Notice how much more adventurous your conversations are when you can just pluck a word out of a sentence and then take it in this direction, follow a twisty, windy path through the woods. Maybe I'm gonna go this way. Hey, there's a word, that's interesting. Let's pursue this path. The mark of a great conversation is when you start at one place and you end at another place. And neither person who's talking has any idea how you got from that first place to that second place. Sometimes you retrace your steps too. You're like, hey, wait, how did we get from here to here? That is the sign of a great conversation, that the 2 people involved are naturally threading the conversation from one place to another place, to another place, to another place, to another place. So the next time you have a conversation, be very intentional about just following the twisty, windy path of conversational threads and see where it takes you. Also, have in your back pocket some conversational restarters that you can use whenever the conversation reaches a legitimate dead end. Anyway, hope you got something out of this video, and I gotta go make dinner. See ya.